Chelsea fans, I need you to hear this slowly, because the sentence I'm about to say sounds like I made it up. Chelsea Football Club, one of the biggest clubs on the planet, have just sacked their manager. Not at the end of the season, not after a transfer window, days before an FA Cup semi-final, and that manager, Liam Rosenior, signed a 6-year contract just 3 months ago. 6 years, 3 months, gone. This is Chelsea in 2025, and today we're going through every single piece of this. The collapse, the trigger, the gamble, and what happens next. Stay with me. Let's rewind. Because this story doesn't start in chaos. It starts with genuine hope. When Liam Rosenior arrived at Stamford Bridge, there was something in the air, real energy, real structure, the kind of early signs that make you think, okay, maybe this is the one. 6 wins from his first 7 games, 6 from 7. The football was direct, the players looked motivated, and Chelsea fans, and who have been through more managers than most clubs go through in a decade, were starting to believe, and the board believed too. A 6-year contract is not a statement you make lightly. That's not a short-term hire. That's a statement of intent. We're building something here. So what happened? 2 words. Paris Saint-Germain. Chelsea's Champions League tie against PSG wasn't just a bad night. It was a public humiliation on the biggest stage in club football. 8-2 across the 2 legs. An 8-2 aggregate defeat. That kind of result doesn't just cost you a competition. It breaks something inside a squad. It fractures confidence. It makes players question every decision, every system, every instruction they've been given. And from that moment on, Chelsea were never the same team again. What followed wasn't just a dip in form. It was a complete and total collapse. Let me give you the numbers because I want you to feel the weight of this. 5 consecutive Premier League defeats, 0 goals scored in those 5 games, 7 losses from the last 8 matches, and the final straw, a 3-0 embarrassment against Brighton at the Amex. Not losing narrowly, not unlucky results. Completely outplayed by a Brighton side at the Amex and not scoring a single goal in 5 league games. Here's the thing that makes this even harder to understand. Chelsea have serious attacking talent in that squad. They've spent more money on forwards and creative players than almost anyone in recent years. And yet, nothing. Not 1 goal across 5 games. When your attack goes completely silent, that's not a tactical tweak away. That's a crisis. Now, here's something important that often gets lost in these stories. The board, led by Behdad Eghbali, didn't hate Rosenior. They didn't think he was a bad coach. Internally, there was still genuine respect for him as a person and as a manager. But football doesn't care about respect. Football cares about results. And when you're a club of Chelsea's size, with Chelsea's budget 7th in the league with your Champions League campaign in ruins, respect isn't enough. They looked at the trajectory. 5 losses, no goals, no signs of improvement, and they made a cold, hard call. There's also an honest admission inside the club and that they haven't got everything right this season. Recruitment decisions, coaching changes, direction. It's been inconsistent from top to bottom. And that matters because Rosenior wasn't working in a perfect environment either. Here's what I keep coming back to. The timing. If you're going to sack a manager, you do it at the end of the season. You quietly thank them. You bring someone in over the summer. You start fresh in pre-season. That's the sensible, structured approach. Instead, Chelsea have done this days, literally days, before an FA Cup semi-final against Leeds United. A one-off knockout game with a Wembley final on the line. They've brought in Calum McFarlane as interim manager until the end of the season. No long-term appointment, no established system, just here's a game in a few days, good luck. And the only reason you take that risk, the only reason you make a change, this disruptive at this specific moment, is if you genuinely believe that something, anything, has to change right now. That leaving Rosenior in the dugout for one more game was worse than this. So what happens now? Honestly, this goes one of 2 ways and there is no middle ground. The first possibility, The new manager bounce. It's real. We've seen it 1,000 times in football. A fresh voice, a fresh approach, players running through walls for 2 weeks because everything feels new. Chelsea dig in, beat Leeds, reach the FA Cup final, and suddenly this decision looks like genius. The second possibility, complete chaos. The players haven't had time to adapt to a new system. There's no tactical preparation. McFarlane walks into a semi-final with 72 hours notice and Chelsea fall apart. Leeds go through, the FA Cup dream is gone. And Chelsea end their season with absolutely nothing. 7th in the league, out of Europe, out of the Cups. For a club that spent what Chelsea have spent, that is a disaster. But whatever happens in that semi-final, we need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't really about Liam Rosenior. It never was. This is about a club that has been in a cycle of instability for years. Manager in, manager out. Recruitment that doesn't make sense. Coaching philosophies that contradict each other from one appointment to the next. A squad that's been rebuilt so many times, the players don't know what identity they're supposed to represent. Rosenior is the latest casualty of a system that hasn't worked. And this summer, for the 4th or 5th time, depending on how you count, Chelsea will go into another managerial search. And the question that Chelsea fans have been asking for years is whether this time they finally get it right. Chelsea just rolled the dice. Right before one of the highest stakes games left on their calendar. It might work, it might backfire spectacularly, but what it definitely is another chapter in one of football's most chaotic seasons. Was this a bold, necessary call from a board that had simply seen enough? Or is it panic? Reckless, poorly timed, and likely to make things worse. I want to know what you think. Drop your take in the comments. Are you backing the decision, or do you think this was a massive mistake? And if you want to see every other major Chelsea story this season broken down like this, hit subscribe. I cover this stuff as soon as it drops. I'll see you in the next one.